Hello and welcome. Welcome to everyone around the globe who are joining us today for our Ambassador Insights series with a very special country dear to me, the Republic of Tunisia. I am Aida Raisi. I'm the founder and the CEO of the bilateral U.S.-Arab Chamber of Commerce. And I am delighted to be speaking about Tunisia, which happens to be a country of my origin and where I was born. As I was looking at our registrant list today, I was seeing an incredibly diverse audience and as usual, an audience from around the world. So we're really excited. And I was thinking, what is drawing all these interesting and sometimes divergent types of people to this country? And I have an idea with when you have a group and it's business people, it's NGOs, it's universities, it's students, it's companies, it's government entities, and they're all gathered. I think it's because Tunisia obviously has been a kind of historic figure lately. And before we start and talk about why that is, I'd like to give everybody a very brief snapshot in the form of a video that the ambassador has sent to us. So please grant us about a minute and a half to view this video on Tunisia.
To be the first one. This is the place to be. To see clear. To be on the right path. To foresee future needs. To innovate. To be on the move, always. To feel the entrepreneurial spirit. Everything becomes possible. Be leader, always. Look for excellence. Build, move forward. Never stop. To love new challenges. To move around. New meetings, new people. To seize real opportunities. To be aware of potential. To keep on building. To thrive. To invest here. To make the right choices. To do everything to succeed. To invest in democracy. I've got new chapters to write.
I really love how that ends. It ends with invest in democracy. And that is exactly what I would very much love for our ambassador, Nejmeddine Lakhal, to address. I'm very pleased to formally introduce him. The Arab Spring a word or a phrase that is almost in a way controversial, because what did it really end up in? So much discord and violence, and actually Tunisia is the only country that somehow emerged from that as a democracy. Ambassador, why do you think that is? What makes Tunisia special or distinct in that?
Thank you. Let me at the outset thank you and thank the bilateral chamber and your team for organizing this session, and also say hello to all who are listening and watching to us. So to respond to your question, I think this question have been asked, Dave. That's what was the secret why Tunisia succeeded in its what we call it Jasmine revolution. There is no secret. There is no secret recipe for that. The only thing, because Tunisia has had all the ingredient to succeed. It's the reformist tradition. It's deeply rooted in the society. It's the youth. It's largely educated youth. We have a unique status for women, a large middle class, and a commitment, of course, the most commitment for dialogue and consensus. That's what helps Tunisia to get the Nobel Peace Process in 2015. So we had all the ingredients to succeed. And there was one thing, even we diverged sometimes, Tunisians diverged between themselves. And then at the end of the day, they look at the interest of the country. I think that was the focus of everyone from all parties. And then they wanted to move forward with the process of political transition. And I think 10 years after we succeed, of course, there's always a problem on the road. So like for any emerging democracy, I don't think we can say that we are perfect democracy. No, we still have a lot of to do. And but when you look at the country, I mean, we are among the first country to have a constitution. I mean, even if you go back to history, Aristotle talked about the first constitution that human being known. It's the Constitution of Carthage. So again, so there was no secret. The secret, it's because we have all the ingredients. That's what will helped us to succeed and to get to where we are. And but we are still working, and we are committed to move forward on our democracy process.
Oh, that's very good. You know, anyone who thinks about the word democracy and the process of democracy knows that it's very hard. All you have to do is look right here in our country, in the United States. Democracy is a work in progress. In the best circumstances, it's hard. But you know, you as a country were emerging into this new era of democracy, and faced now with, you know, a pandemic of epic proportions on a country in which tourism is one of the mainstays of the economy. So it was almost like a double whammy. According to the World Bank, you're facing a real economic disaster right now. How is the government handling the pandemic, COVID, the challenges that have come with it?
The pandemic is, well, it's something that nobody was expecting. So not Tunisia, not even the United States, not everyone was expecting this huge impact on the economy, on social economy. And then if you think about small country like Tunisia with no important natural resources, I mean, the only most important resource that our people. So it has a huge impact. And as you said, one of the main sectors that in Tunisia is the tourism sector, which is over 9% of GDP. So it's really badly hit badly those industry, not only this, but other sector, because the tourism sector is linked with other sectors, with services. And so it's really bad. And then we are, you know, working we are. And then also there was plan of reform. I mean, we embarked because we think that political transition is not enough, because to meet the aspiration of the people, of Tunisian people, for a better life. So we embarked on an ambitious process of economic reform. But unfortunately, the pandemic the impact of the pandemic was very, very hard on our economy. But we are committed to move forward with our reform. So our priority at this time is how to fight this pandemic, how to stop the spreading of the infection around the country, because unfortunately the process of getting the vaccine is very slow. And I think once we get over this pandemic, which unfortunately is not going to be for tomorrow, but we will of course carry on our plan of economic reform to move forward and to boost our economy. But Tunisia and Tunisian people are committed on the path of reform to make our economy more competitive, and then to, of course, to be able to create more jobs. As you said it rightly, we have an increase of unemployment in Tunisia, and that's especially among educated people. I mean, we have a large portion of the unemployment among the educated people. That's why we work into. That's why it's so important for us to carry on the economic reform to attract more foreign and domestic investment in all sectors in Tunisia, existing in Tunisia.
Just to touch a little bit more on COVID, I mean, I'm seeing, for instance, travel is rebounding to places like Greece, Italy. Is the country open for travelers? What are the procedures that how are you handling inbound visits?
It's open, so they're asking people who have got vaccination to to present a proof that the QR code at the customs arriving. Those who have didn't get the vaccination, they have to present the PCR test, and then of course be in self-confinement when they go to Tunisia.
Okay, you talked a little bit just now about high unemployment, and it is interesting that the unemployment is particularly high among the educated, because Tunisia has one of the highest educated workforces in the continent of Africa. And so like a lot of countries that have a high skilled educated workforce, there is the problem of the drain brain. That's why you find notable Tunisians truly all over the world and doing some remarkable things. Exactly how are you addressing or engaging the issue of the brain drain, and how are you turning it? It's a challenge. Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity?
It's both. I mean, it's an opportunity for Tunisia. It's a wave that you can stop. So there's more attractive offer. So, and Tunisia at this moment has over 194,000 of talented people who are working abroad. There are 60% in Europe, 25% in North America, and 15% in the Gulf state. That's huge for a country, and that's a big investment to invest in those people. And then so it's really a challenge for us. But it's on the other side, it's an opportunity, because Tunisian diaspora it has a key role and can play a key role in supporting the government effort to implement its strategy for development for the country. So I think this. So we want them to be a bridge. They can be the best bridge to link in when they live to the country where they live with Tunisia, and then with their expertise, their know-how, their experience, they can of course help and support the development reform that the country is embarking. So it's a big asset for us. And I think that I was here 25 years ago. There was, for example, if I talk about the United States, there were about 4,000, 5,000 Tunisian. Today there are over 35,000. Among them, there are I think close to 3,000 skilled Tunisian who lives in the States, and they are in all sectors: space, medicine, technology, education. So they are all, and they are really contributing in the in American progress, and they are all, I mean, all, that's, I'm sure, even with whom I didn't talk, they're all ready to help and to support the government for in moving the country forward and in implementing the economic reform in Tunisia. So it's a big asset one day and on one side, and it's of course a big challenge because we invest, or we have, it's investment for us, and seeing those competence leaving the country, it's not always good. So
yeah. Well, when we talk about, you know, the young people, and on the other side of the coin of the uneducated, skilled ones without jobs, you also have the uneducated in a way that, according to the UN, about 6,000, Tunisia exported about 6,000 foreign fighters to the war, you know, the ISIS era. I don't know if it's over or not, but certainly I would think that some of those young men are returning. How is Tunisia absorbing or coping with that? You have had one incident or two of terrorism, and how is the government dealing with that?
well, Tunisia didn't export, so we don't export terror. So we can't. I mean, and the figures, we don't know exactly how many. Nobody got the right figures about that. So people, you know, it's free country, they can travel. Well, we can't hide that there are a lot of them involved. Some of them are involved in conflict. Some of them carried out terrorist attack, and then we've been in our country, in our country, we've been victim of terrorist attacks. So as many other countries. So you know, Tunisian, whenever if they're involved in any terrorist act and they're back home, so of course they will be present before court and judged in accordance with law. And if they have committed any crimes, of course they will punish for that. So.
Well, you came to the U.S. Was it last year when you became ambassador?
I arrived here on the 3rd of January, 2021.
Okay. So you arrived, and you're working then liaisoning with the Biden administration. And how is that going? And what is your strategy with the engagement? Do you find that there is interest and support for Tunisia? What's the relationship like?
Well, it's a good relationship. The relationship between the United States have been always excellent. I mean, our relationship goes back to over 200 years. And then they have been improved, and then they witnessed a big progress. And in particular, in the last 10 years, since the Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia. And now, honestly, we have a good access. I mean, we had very valuable support from the United States during the last 10 years, and we still, and just lately, because of the pandemic, the United States announced direct support with COVID vaccines to Tunisia. That's reflect how important the relationship, how the United States is seeing Tunisia. I think we look at the United States as strategic partner, and we are committed to work together because our relationship are founded on shared value of democracy and freedom. And I think together we can move forward, and we can strengthen further the relationship and then expand them in all in different area and a sector of common interest. I think they are good. And then I have just lately there was a virtual visit by Her Excellency Mrs. Wendy Sherman to Tunisia. Before that, Mr. Joy Hood visited Tunisia in person. So there's a lot of activity between the two countries.
Very good. you know, going back to the video and kind of looking at all of those different sectors and then thinking about the special geographic location of Tunisia, what are your relations like with the neighbors, or you know, you have free trade agreements with the EU, you have some free trade agreements with the new pact in Africa. Can you tell us a little bit about those agreements, and are they still in place and being leveraged?
Yes, they are. I mean, the first agreement, free trade agreement that European Union signed with the country from Asia was in Tunisia. So, and then now we have free trade agreement with European Union. We have the Agadir agreement that include a couple of countries in the region. We are a member, a signatory member of the free trade area in Africa. We are a member of CEDAC. So there are a lot of free agreements that link in Tunisia, not only with Europe, but also with many countries in the region. That's why Tunisia is one of the best platform gateway to those to markets in Europe, to markets in Africa, and to Middle East. And that's one of the advantage that Tunisia offered to foreign investors to come and invest in Tunisia, and not only look at Tunisia as a small market, but look at Tunisia as a platform, as a gateway for a larger market in the region.
Well, drilling down into that a little bit, I know a lot of our members and a lot of people that are located where we are, which is in Texas, they're looking at Libya and the opportunities that, you know, exist there. What are the relations like with Libya? Are there any special accommodations, or you know, if you want to do business in Libya? I know there's a lot of Libyans that now reside in Tunisia. Can you kind of give us a snapshot of that?
You know, we always talk about Libyan and Tunisian as one people in two countries. So we are so close socially and historically, and then the relationship between the two people are so strong, and economically, socially, and you know, we had a lot of trade with Libyan. We know we had a lot of labor force who works in Libya. We have a lot of partnership that have been in the past. So, and Libya, it's which is heading toward elections. I hope they will be happening, inshallah, on before the end of December. And then Tunisia was among the country who supported the transition and supported the forum of the political dialogue we hosted. That was announced in Tunisia in November last year. So the president, His Excellency President Qais Said, was among the first leader to visit Libya to express the support and solidarity of Tunisia with the Libyan people. So because their security is our security, and their prosperity is our prosperity. And Libya would need a lot of present huge opportunities for investment. And I think there is a big opportunity for US company to partner with Tunisian private sector and with Libyan private sector to implement a lot of huge projects in Libya in different sectors, in infrastructure, in transport and logistics, in renewable energy. So there are a lot of opportunity that I hope that private sector, US company can look at that and take advantage of that, and then partner with Tunisian private sector for business in Libya.
Very good. You know, when we talk about some of the sectors, what are the promising sectors that as an investor, a US investor, an international company is looking at? We've had a lot of questions from people that are in the water industry, whether it's desalination, whether it's wastewater. There seems to be a real interest in this. What exactly is going on in Tunisia with this sector, and what are the opportunities?
It's both. I mean, water waste treatment and desalination are open for private sector. They are open for PPP. And actually, for example, in Tunisia, we have around 113 plants for treatment of wastewater. But at urban, we have a plant for treatment industrial wastewater, and 8 plants in rural area. But we still need more. And I think the sector is open for concession, is open for partnership, is open for joint venture with private sector in Tunisia. The same thing we can say about desalination. We have a national plan for desalination. You know, the water, it's today, the water is one of big challenges that face in the region, including Tunisia. So we have to look for other source of water. So, and then, so the desalination in Tunisia, it's of brackish water and seawater. It's a pillar of the national strategy for mobilizing water resource in Tunisia. So there is a lot of opportunity for US companies who are interested in both wastewater treatment and desalination water to look closely and to come to Tunisia. And the embassy is ready to connect them with the relevant entity in Tunisia. They can get in touch with me. They can visit Tunisia, which will be better if they can meet the right people. And then I think, and with them also, this is one of the sectors they should explore, not only in Tunisia, but also in Libya. And with SONET International, for example, which is the national entity who dealing with water management, desalination in Tunisia, it's already in talks with Libyan authority for some projects. So I think there's some expertise that only the few countries like the United States has, so they can add to this effort by the Tunisian SONET International, and then take advantage of this opportunity to exist not only in Tunisia and in Libya also, and in the region also.
Well, thank you. In addition to water, which I agree is a huge issue facing really the entire world, and particularly that region. Also, there is a renewed interest and investment vehicles to fund sustainable energy, fund electricity. And I saw in the video, I noticed the wind turbines, and I'm also wondering, are there solar initiatives or solar plans like similar to what Morocco has been really a leader in? What's going on in that industry?
I think about 2 years ago, the Minister of Energy announced a plan for 4 billion investment in that, in renewable energy, because of climate change, because the impact of climate change, because the lack of resources. And then everybody is moving toward renewable energy. And there are a lot of opportunity. We are interested in building a lot of plants to be able to respond to the huge demand of energy, and of course to replace the energy that polluted the air. So again, this is another sector which is also with other sector as the tourism, as automobile, as space, as infrastructure, as technology, as artificial intelligence. So those are promising sector that need to be explored by US company.
I mean, tell us a little bit about that satellite that was launched. And I think that caught a lot of people by surprise. And I don't know if many people knew that there was a space industry brewing in Tunisia. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Tunisian always surprise the world. They surprised them in 2011, and now we will be always surprising you in a good way. So that was a project that been by a private company, and again we come back to the diaspora. There was a really valuable help from Tunisian skill or help. This is one of the, we have in Tunisia a national strategy for space, for peaceful means, and that was a project which was carried out by private company, and this is one of the first steps. We have a lot that shows how at what level Tunisia is now, at what kind of advanced technology Tunisia is having, and then this is one of the first steps for our national strategy. This is sending this satellite is only one step, and of course we look forward to more satellite launching in the future. So I don't have a technical detail to tell you about, but I know that the fact that you are able to send the satellite up on the sky, it's always a big progress that reflects the level of technology that is in one country. And it have been all 100% made by Tunisian skilled people.
No, that definitely speaks to the skill set, and that Tunisia definitely has that as something to offer. You know, as I said at the beginning, we have a whole array of people, and we actually have a student body from Texas A&M that have submitted some questions. So I'd like to present some of their questions. So one of the questions is, since the Arab Spring, the Jasmine Revolution, how has, or have you seen an increase or a decrease in the freedom of speech and the problem of censorship? Because of course that was a distinct problem in the past. And so how do you see this now, the issue of freedom of speech?
It can be a question of decrease because we didn't have it before. So, I mean, before you can think whatever you want, but as long as you keep it for yourself. There was of course, decrease of freedom of speech. You just look at the huge number of newspapers, the media outlet, private channels, radio, private channels. So it can give you an idea how blogs, social media. So this is one of the gain that Tunisians are very proud of. So it's definitely more than an increase of freedom of speech in Tunisia.
So we shouldn't be looking for what we're seeing in some of the other countries. For example, the country that you served as ambassador was India, and there's been a recent crackdown on Twitter, some new laws that are being implemented on social media and Twitter in particular. You know India well. You've achieved a great deal of things between Tunisia and India. We're not going to be seeing any of that kind of crackdown in Tunisia on social media.
In Tunisia, there was a commitment, and then it's a reversible commitment, and we're not going back to the old days. So freedom of speech is guaranteed by the constitution, and there is no way that we can restrict or censorship free speech in Tunisia.
We talked about a few industries: tourism, aerospace, which is unexpected and interesting, solar, water. We didn't talk about agriculture. Tunisia, very few people know, is one of the #1 exporters of olive oil and dates. How is that industry doing? What are the opportunities there? We are starting to see for the first time in the US actually Tunisian olive oil marketed as Tunisian olive oil. Is that a big initiative, something that is actively being supported via the government?
Well, you know, it's one of, as you know, Tunisia does have olive oil, but not the other oil. So, and we're glad that's more healthy than the other one. So, but we are the third producer of olive oil. I remember 25 years ago, we didn't have this part of in the market of the US. We were exporting through other networking, so it wasn't easy. But I'm very glad to see that during the last year, there is increase of export of Tunisian branded olive oil to the US. So you can go to the market and see, of course, you see a Tunisian brand of olive oil from, and you see differently. And it didn't come like that. You know, Tunisia has got a lot of golden medal in many fairs around the world. It's expo around, including the US. It's a good quality. It's one of the best quality. I'm not saying that because it's I am Tunisian, but according to all experts, Tunisian olive oil is one of the best. That's why you see, and hope we are working to further promote the olive oil and dates in the US market. And I hope that the renew of the GSP in the next month or after will be, of course, will further boost the export of Tunisian olive oil to the United States.
And for those in the audience that don't know what the renewal of GSP involves, what is that exactly?
It's preferential system program that offer an access of olive oil and dates and many other product to the United States without paying customs. So it's this is that was an advantage of exporting olive oil and sometimes other product with reduced customs taxes. So it's something that United States offered to some countries, and we were among the country who had this advantage. And hopefully it ended last December, and hopefully there's a new bill in the Congress, pending in the Congress, and I'm very happy that this new program will be renewed.
Is there an initiative by the government to encourage foreign investment in in Tunisia, the opening of branch offices? There used to be the reputation of a lot of red tape involved in, as you say, taking advantage of the geographic location of Tunisia, but there was a lot of red tape in actually establishing a company in Tunisia. Is the government looking at the investment law, so to speak? Are there reforms there?
You know, at this time, there's over 3,500 foreign companies in Tunisia. We have free zones in Tunisia. We have offshore, we have a lot of offshore companies. So there are a lot of advantage to attract foreign company. There was a new law for investment. There was new PPA. There's new, that's, you know, before 2008, the law, it was, the risk were only for the private sector, but since the new reform, so it's shared, fairly shared between the states and the private sector. So there's new law, bankruptcy. So there are a lot of reform that have been implemented. There are still more reform to come to further improve the climate of investment in Tunisia and to attract more investors to Tunisia.
Very good. So I think the next step will, a trade mission to Tunisia then is in order.
Yes,
So
yeah, I think there, well, and I invite a member of the business community from Houston to come to Tunisia to, don't take me for granted, but you can go to Tunisia and see by yourself, and then have and explore by yourself in Tunisia and see that there are a lot of opportunity to invest in Tunisia and to see how the country is a getaway to other markets in the region.
well, in talking with you and in preparation for this webinar, we talked about that you're going to start doing outreach beyond Washington, D.C., and that you are formulating an investment conference that might be carried to various cities across the U.S. Can you tell us a little bit about that vision and when you believe that timing will be?
Yeah, you know, as ambassador, one of my mission is to promote investment and to attract U.S. company to Tunisia. And so, you know, it's going to be very hard to cover all the states. It's a big country, so focusing on a couple of states. My next trip will be to Wyoming, and there I am in my program. I'm meeting, as I told you last time, I'm meeting with the member of chamber, and I know you have a member who is in your board, so Mr. Davis. So I think David. Phil, what was the name? Phillips?
David Phillips. Yes, yes. We have a Wyoming contingency.
So, and I'm
yes.
looking forward to meet him. So that's on my agenda. And of course, I will look for other visits. Maybe I'll go to Minnesota and to explore opportunity, not only for investment, but also for university corporation, for innovation and research corporation, for sectors which are a key and priority for Tunisia, and also for people-to-people contact, because it's important to link the people, for example, of Wyoming to Tunisia, to Tunisian people, which I think if we're looking for sustainable relation between two countries, I think people-to-people contact are fundamental to strengthen, to sustain any relationship between two countries.
Well, yeah, so yeah, definitely let us know how we can help you in Wyoming and some of these other places. We have a couple of questions that have come in, and one of them reminds me of something that people always ask regarding Tunisia. Whether it's a blessing or not can be debated differently, but it is a little odd that Tunisia being sandwiched in between Algeria, which is so, one of the top gas producing countries in the world, and Libya, which arguably may have one of the biggest oil fields in the world. And here we have little Tunisia in between. Of course, now we've got technology that could find and extract and develop oil in a much more interesting way. What can you tell those in the audience that are interested in petroleum, energy, and oil on what's going on in Tunisia?
Well, we are blessed with having, as I said, we have with olive oil, which is a healthy product. So, but I think for the region, you see, those things are natural, came from nature. But I think the region, the whole region of North Africa, need one vision. The vision is the integration. If you look at the region, you see that is the less integrated, I think less than 3% of exchange. And then I think what we need to get integrate this region is to look how we can set up economic growth and prosperity corridor between two. You see those countries have, Algeria and Libya has energy. We have skilled people. So we can look at a way to complement each other, that any country can complement. We are not rival, but we have more opportunity to complement each other. And I think there are a lot of opportunities. And then, foreign investment, business is good, but come in business with vision to help integrate this region will be more beneficial for not only for the country, but also for foreign investment in the future.
Thank you so much. I think that's a good way to wrap up our wonderful discussion. The next time we'll see you, we're actually going to follow up this conversation on that economic corridor and talk a little bit more about Libya, and hopefully have your counterpart, the Honorable Libyan Ambassador to the US. So those of you that are on this webinar now and have interest specifically in this cooperation between Tunisia and Libya, make sure that you join us. I want to thank you so much for giving us your time with such short notice. And we look forward to seeing you in Texas and Wyoming, wherever it is that you may go, and we offer you our full support. Thank you so much, Ambassador Lakhal.
Thank you. And Houston is, Texas is on my list. I forgot to mention it, but hopefully I'll be coming there, and then we can have more discussion with the business community, and then also with universities. And then I'm open for any university who would like to visit the embassy. I'm ready to do some presentation with my staff, and then introduce in Tunisia its history, its relationship with the United States. So we are open at any proposal that will enhance or contribute to the strengthening of the relationship between the two countries, and also between the two people. And of course, I just would like to mention that we work in Tunisian diaspora in the US. It's priority for me, for my staff. So, and then we already launched, we are close to launch a new platform that to connect skilled Tunisian who lives in the US and who would like to support development effort in Tunisia. There is no networking, and we are working there. And hopefully we can also organize a forum for Tunisian skilled people by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. And I call on all the Tunisian diaspora to join us for this initiative to build this network platform, and also to be ready to participate in the Forum for Tunisian Competence in the US, which has two objectives. Mainly because a lot of people don't know that Tunisian skilled people are contributing, are bringing a valuable contribution to progress in the US, not only in the economy, but also on the social side. And nobody knows about that. We would like to highlight that there are a lot of Tunisians who work in different sector, very important key sector in the USA, such as space. There are a lot of doctors who settled in the US. There are a lot of Tunisians who educate at university. There are a lot of in high tech. So, and nobody knows about that. We'd like to highlight that. Of course, we would like to see to help bring their knowledge and their expertise to Tunisia, to create an innovation and research environment that will help the Tunisian skilled people in Tunisia work and then exceed in their fields. And again, at the end, I thank you very much and thank your team and bilateral chamber for this opportunity. And I look forward to working with you and to meet you again. And then I thank all those who've been listening to me and watching us. And I look forward to see you again and meet you again.
Thank you so much. And I do want to recognize the board members of TTU, our partners in this event.